Good morning. It is Memorial Day of 2021 and I am about to go film a full garden tour. I just love to be able to look back and remember what I planted and where I planted it, so I thought I would go ahead and upload it here, and for anybody that's interested in following along and see what we're doing here on our homestead. So let's head in. All right, we have a lot of different areas of our garden, but this is our main garden area right here. I love our gate. It's made out of an old headboard and footboard. So we're gonna go through each area and I'm gonna show you what I have planted. So we're gonna start here on the back row, and these are our peppers. We have Ico peppers. We have green peppers. We have tangerine peppers. And then all along here are our tomatillas. So we have the regular variety, just the regular green size. And then we have the Grande Verde, which are way bigger. They are all doing beautifully. There's some really big ones on this plant here. And then we have the purple variety. You can see the purple stripes on the husks. So those are gonna be absolutely beautiful. And then over here, these are all of our cayenne peppers. I just love to dry them and use them throughout the season. And then this is our little Meyer lemon tree that we're hoping survives. All right, so starting with the first bed here, we've got Bulgarian giant leeks, and then Conservor shallots, and then more leeks and more shallots. So 2 rows of each. And then we put up these cattle panels and made a triangular type of a trellis, and this is where all of my paste tomatoes are going. So I've got little labels here. So these are Amish paste, and companion planted with those, I've got Greek basil and dwarf Greek basil. Over here, I've got our red onions, companion planted with a bunch of different lettuces, Jericho, Freckles, endive, and arugula. And then I've got more onions here. These are New York early onions, like a white onion variety. Our next set of paste tomatoes is the Gilberti paste. And those are companion planted with purple basil that I just actually harvested a bunch of. And we've also companion planted with more onions and a row of beets in the middle. And then here we have the Granadero F1 paste tomato. I'm really excited to try these this year. I ordered a lot of new varieties of paste tomatoes. I really wasn't happy last year with the ones that we had. And companion planted with these is basil and chives. These are tangerine gem marigolds, and they are absolutely beautiful. I also have companion planted in here rows of lettuce on each side of the beets. The beets and the tomatoes help shade the lettuce, so I've been able to grow it a little bit further into the hot weather here in Georgia. And then here we have our cucumbers. These are gonna be our sweet burpless cucumbers for salads. And over here is the national pickling cucumber. Both of these are new varieties I'm trying, and we already have our first one right there, so I'm excited about that. Now, when I planted these that were already started in the greenhouse, I went ahead and popped a seed in the ground. So I'm naturally having a second succession with those. And over here is companion planted the parade bunching onions all the way down this row. Another succession of zucchini and yellow squash. And in here is a first and second succession of carrots. So that is what that all looks like. And then down here, I've got about 5 pots along here. I've got 3 moringas in the black pots, 1, 2, 3 moringas. And then I also have in the blue pots is bay leaf trees, which are not growing too well yet. And companion planted in all the pots, I have the English thyme and creeping thyme, which are doing really well. So that is this side of the main garden. And I will show you one more view, and then we will jump around to the other side of the main garden, and I will get Miss Maggie out of here, who likes to come behind me and eat plants. All right, now we're gonna go on to the other half of the main garden. Here we have this bed in the middle. we have our spearmint that I've already harvested. That's an aster, rosemary. The vine on this bamboo trellis here is spaghetti squash, and planted in with those is a bunch of more bunching onions. And we have another set of garlic here. I'll show you the rest of the garlic. That's that. Over here, we have got 6 hibiscus plants. I've got 3 white hibiscus and 3 of the roselle hibiscus. So those are doing really well. Looking forward to harvesting all of those for some hibiscus tea. And here is just a jungle of some parsley and cilantro that we're letting it just flower and go to seed. But these are just 4 random tomatoes that I had left over. Over here is, we've got 2 of True Love melon. I have not planted these before, so that is new. There's some chives planted in there as well. And then we've got some more squash here. Look at all the flowers are forming, and these are butternut squash. So I've got 2 here. Up the side here, we've got our strawberries planted in the gutters. They have done amazingly well in the gutters. We haven't had issues with the slugs this year that we normally do. So that has been a win, and I'll show you more of those later. Down here, we've got our straight neck yellow squash, and in the back over there and up here, we have our Dunja F1 zucchini, and you can see the zinnias are starting to pop. They're really pretty, and some celosia that my husband started from seed. Over here is my first succession and second succession of spinach. This is called Space F1, sorry, not Spaceship. And I've got a 3rd succession planted here that's not up yet. Here's the other side of this bed. We've got 2 containers of lemongrass I'm super excited about. They don't germinate easily, so you do have to plant a lot, but they are doing really well. And in here is going to be my red Malabar spinach. I only had 2 seeds out of 8 that came up direct sown, so I just started more in the greenhouse, and I am hoping that those will do better. They are starting to come up, so I'm just not a biggest fan of direct sowing. All right, over here, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. These are 3 of our raspberry plants that just started as 3 small starts last year, and those are companion planted with yarrow, which is going crazy this year. All right, we've got 2 beds of garlic here. I've got so many different varieties this year. I know there's the Polish, and I know there's Enchilium Red, but I don't remember the other ones off the top of my head. All right, and then we have these 6 square planters here are all tomatoes. So we've got Kentucky Beefsteak, Cherokee Purple, Cherokee Carbon, Dr. Wychee, and then down here I just did a couple extra grape tomatoes. Most of those are planted in the high tunnel, but what I like to do is plant the same thing out here that I do in the high tunnel. So most of the cherry tomatoes are in the high tunnel, but there's going to be 2 to 3 of them out here. The same with the paste tomatoes, slicing tomatoes. I went ahead and put a couple of each into the high tunnel just to experiment with where they grow best. Since this is only our 2nd year of gardening, so we are doing a lot of experimenting, trying out different seed companies, different soils, and things like that. All the soil this year we got from Dirtcraft Organics. They are amazing. They're out of North Carolina, and it is worth the drive to get soil from them. My germination rate was off the charts. The plants are all amazingly healthy. Most of the seeds we got this year, we went with Baker Creek, and we went with High Mowing organic seeds. All right, so that is most of the main garden, and I've got a lot of other areas of garden, so we are going to head out and go see the potato patch. All right, so this is our potato and asparagus area. So last year we just had this long 28-foot bed for the asparagus, and we did not have any luck planting our potatoes in the raised beds over here. So we decided to try and put them in the ground this year. So we simply extended this area with some welded wire fencing and T-posts and decided to try growing these in the ground. So we've got some red Nordland and some russet and some Adirondack blue. And then over here, this bed that I built, I basically just took soil from all the old pots and stuff from last year and seed starting soil, and I just threw it in here. I haven't really done anything, but we have a bunch of volunteer tomatoes, and we do have one watermelon coming up, another one over here actually. So I'm just gonna leave it and see what happens in there this year. And then over here are our peas that Miss Maggie here has been munching on through the fence. But those are doing really well. And you can get another shot of our asparagus. We bought these as 1-year crowns last year, so these are our 2nd year. So next year we will start harvesting some of these. It's kind of hard to resist them, but we really want them to get a good start. Now, companion planted in the asparagus, I do have a couple jalapeno plants. I did that last year and they did fantastic. So there you have it. That is our asparagus and potato and pea area. And then right over here, we've got our 3 new blueberry bushes and some yarrow that is starting to flower. I think this is called the Parker's variety. It did not flower last year, so I am excited that it is finally flowering. So that is that part. So now we are going to go walk over by our elderberry area. Okay, over here by our chicken coop, we just have this small bed that we just put in using some, just using some logs from some trees that came down. And we have our elderberry bushes here. And I think this is the Queen Anne's lace. I can't remember honestly what we planted, but the elderberries are all mixed in here. And then we just planted a bunch more yarrow over here just because we had some space. So this is just mostly pollinators and our elderberry. And in there is where our new baby layers are living. So that is that small area. Super easy to make a cheap flower bed just with some logs you can find in the woods or on your property and the big mulch pile for the puppies to play in. So we are going to now head all the way down there to the high tunnel. All right, we are gonna head in here. Thankfully, it's pretty early in the morning still. It gets super hot in here. We had to put these little screen doors up here because when the doors are open, we don't want the dogs in here. So, all right, so in here, we just had this last spring, we had all these raised cedar beds built. We planted in ground in here last year, and we did pretty well, but we just had so many issues with the pests and all. So we decided, also it wasn't good on the back. So we decided to go ahead and have raised beds put in here. So we've got a cattle panel along here, and these are all of our cherry tomatoes. And again, I'm trying pretty much all new varieties except for one, but this is a Midnight Pear right here, and Starlight Grape. And then we have Agripoli, which I got from a seed exchange last year, so we did plant those again because they were fantastic. And then we have the Supernova cherry tomato down here. And you can see we already have plenty of tomatoes forming. Everything is very happy in here. I've got some carrots that actually overwintered that I still pull up for salads. Okay, over here we've got the Zucchino Rampicante. Excited to try these for the first time. This is a True Love melon. This is a mystery seed that came up last year. So I don't remember what we had planted in last year, but somewhere there was either some seeds in the compost or I don't know where it came from. And over here I have more of the marigolds planted just to attract some pollinators into the high tunnel, which can be an issue. This is just a cedar planter 3-tiered that the same guy built for us. And we just put a bunch of extra stuff in here: a white Tomasil tomato, a hollyhock, ground cherry, celosia, and a bunch of different herbs. I just cut back all this basil. This is lemon basil, which is absolutely fantastic. If you haven't tried it, I got it from Baker Creek Seeds. It makes amazing lemon vinaigrette dressing, and I highly recommend it. I'm going to pop back over here for a second. We just got a real greenhouse fan put in from Greenhouse Megastore, so super excited to have that. It gets so hot in here, it helps keep the air moving, and hoping will help cut down on the powdery mildew, just keeping the air moving in here. All right, over here I've got spaghetti squash, and I got two different varieties, one from Johnny's Seed and one from M.I. Gardner. And then we have one other squash here in the middle. I'm trying to remember what that one is. That is another butternut squash. So again, I have some butternut squash out in the main garden, and I'm doing some in here. Just like the zucchini rampicante, I have a bunch out in another part of the main garden we haven't gone to yet. But as I said, I'm trying the seeds in different places just to see how they do. Okay, over here on this row, I've got two more of our slicing tomatoes because I have most of them out in the main garden. And then along here, I've got two of each paste tomato that is also out in the main garden. Now the only ones I'm having trouble with are these Gilberti paste in here. So the ones out in the main garden are amazing, and the ones in here, the leaves are turning a weird color. They start off nice and green, so I have to check into what's causing that. But if you notice our trellising system here, we just want to do something super cheap because we're just trying, we're just trying new things. So there's a rope that goes along here. There's a rope in the bed that goes along here. And if you follow up here, there's a rope that goes up and ties into another rope up here. It's just cheap nylon rope and then just rolls of cheap Velcro that you can get off Amazon. So that is how we are doing the trellis here. And the same thing over here, we have the rope going up to the center purlin on the high tunnel. Okay, and these are more, I think these are more slicing tomatoes. I'll have to go around and look. And I just started some more cucumbers, so let's peek around there. Also to note, we do have a solar pump so that we can get water in here because there is no water down at this end of the property. So my husband is brilliant and he rigged that up. So over here we have, this is another cherry tomato, Supernova cherry tomato. We have a Cherokee Carbon, a Dr. Wychee. Roots and Refuge had mentioned Dr. Wychee that she loved them, so I thought we would try those. And another Kentucky beefsteak. And again, these are just in here just for trial. Over here I've got two more sweet burpless cucumbers, so this will be my third succession of cucumbers. So there you have it. That's what we have in our high tunnel. I did want to mention our high tunnel we got from Farmer's Friend LLC. They are amazing. Now they usually only sell 50 and 100-foot tunnels. However, we're not a big operation. We are a small family farm or homestead, whatever you want to call it, and we just don't have room for something like that. So I contacted them. I had a friend that was interested in a tunnel, and we were actually able to take a 50-foot tunnel and have it split. So we each got about 25 feet. We were able to share the plastic and everything like that from the order and put our own kits together. So it was a huge money saver, and it allowed us to have something that fit on our property. So always reach out to these companies. They usually are really willing to work with you. One more mention, again, there is another cattle panel trellis. So the cattle panel you can get at Tractor Supply for about $25. So you can use them for all different types of trellises, like this long one here, or the curved one here, or the triangle, like teepee shaped ones that we saw out in the main garden. And of course I had to put my little fake chandelier in here. So I'm going to show you the outside of the high tunnel. Sorry for the not so good with the camera there. So this is our 20 foot. We used old windows to finish it off, just for some ventilation with some screening, and then some doors we just got at Home Depot. So that is that. And now we're gonna go check out the blackberries. All right, over here we have the blackberries growing along the fence, and we also have onion sets. I didn't really have luck with onion sets last year, but I decided to try one more box of them this year, and they're actually doing fantastic over here. And you can see in the background there our Cornish cross. They will be 8 weeks old tomorrow, so y'all know what's coming in a couple days. So that's gonna be, this is the largest amount we've ever done. We've got 35, so I know a lot of people do 50 or 100 at a time, but 35 is pretty big for us, so that will be a fun day. But anyway, check out the blackberries. We didn't get any off of these plants last year, so they are doing really well. They seem to be really happy over here in this area. So that is the blackberry and some onions companion planted. And now we're gonna go check out our upper garden. All right, so we're gonna go up the steps and check out the upper garden, or more like a container garden. This hill was a bare when we moved in, but we finally just kind of settled on having it graded, put down some erosion mat, and just started planting some creeping juniper, creeping rosemary, and some things like that to help with the erosion and to make a usable space. So let's go in and see what we've got going on up here. I love this area up here. I just think it's kind of sweet up here. So these are all my different basil varieties. I absolutely love basil. I've got Greek basil, sweet basil, holy basil, lemon basil, and lime basil. I've got some nasturtium started here and in a couple of these hanging baskets. Just want to kind of mention, you can add like a really sweet little decorative touch to your garden just by like little simple things. Like this is just a spool of macrame, you know, rope that I got, and super easy instructions to find like on YouTube. So I just like decorating things. Y'all probably don't know that I have a fashion design degree and never was interested in gardening in my life, but that's a side note. Down here I've got echinacea. I have another succession of yellow straight neck squash here. Let's zoom over here to the strawberries. I showed you one gutter we had down below, but we have 3 more gutters up here, and we are actually going to put in a second and third row because they have done absolutely fantastic up here. All right, so this one's still empty. This is our sour gherkins. So these are supposedly these little miniature cucumbers. They say they kind of look like dollhouse watermelons, and we have not grown these before, and there are a couple starting on here. I probably can't find them at the moment, but there are a few of them. So we've got 2 hanging baskets of those. This is our calendula. And over here, I am actually restarting my banana peppers because I tried to direct seed them in here and none of them came up. And the one that I started that I thought was a banana pepper a couple weeks ago turned out to be like a weed. So I don't know what seed it was. But anyway, so I just started new ones last week. We've got plenty of time left here in Georgia to grow them. So that'll go in there. This is our borage. So I planted a lot more seeds. Not a lot of those came up. This pot we still need to find something to use, put in there. Here you go, I just found one of the little gherkins. Oh my gosh, look how cute they are. They're so cute. Can't wait to try those. All right, this is celery from last year. I didn't know it was gonna overwinter and it came back and I kind of forgot about it. So we're just, you know, letting it go to seed. We'll cut it back for next year. This is our comfrey, which is absolutely beautiful. Our mullein, which I'm going to harvest some of this and make some tincture out of it. This is our echinacea from last year, and this was only a couple plants and it went completely wild. So I love that. And let me just give you another view from up here down to the raspberries and the yarrow. And those are going crazy. And we are going to step down below and I'll show you the other squash. All right, we just got these Goji Berries in. These are from Territorial Seed Company. So we got these starts from them. Just got those finally planted. All right, over here, so again, we use cattle panel. We have an 8-foot cattle panel here and 2 that of the 16-footers that go up and wrap around. So these are ground cherries. I don't know what we're gonna get out of these because I honestly kept them in their starter containers for so long. I think that it could have stunted their growth because they really haven't done much since I moved them, but it is what it is. It's the first time doing them. So this is our zucchino rampicante. I mentioned I had 2 of these in the high tunnel. And so we've got 4 of them out here, and those are gonna go up on this trellis. Over here are our red noodle beans. We grew these last year. They were absolutely prolific. We had absolutely no problem whatsoever with any pests, where the green pole beans that used to be over here were completely covered in Japanese beetles. These were never even touched. So we're growing these again this year, all from, you know, the beans that I saved I just keep popping in new seeds because a lot of them aren't coming up. But again, they were saved seeds, so you don't really know what ones are going to germinate and what aren't. And over here is the dragon tongue bush bean. So we planted 3 of those. So here is a view of this area from down below. I just think it's really sweet. I love it. So there's a little view of our area. We are only on 1.28 acres, and we are able to grow a lot of our own food, raise our own meat chickens, raise our laying chickens. We've raised pigs here on the farm already, so you don't need a lot of land. All right, so that's it for in here. I'm going to show you one more space outside, actually maybe 2 more spaces. All right, so this is our newest area. This area had 7 large trees, just like poplar trees, and I don't even know what they were, but they were very large and ugly and covered the yard in leaves and really served no purpose. And they were also actually dangerously large, and you know, we didn't want them to wipe out our cottage or our house. So what we did is we took them down. Well, we didn't take them down, we had them taken down, and we went ahead and planted an orchard. So we're super excited about this investment. We've got plum trees, 3 apple trees, 2 peaches, 2 pears, and 1 peach tree. So we'll walk by those, but this here is called prolific kiwi. It is a vine, it's a vining kiwi. And this again we got from Territorial Seed Company. Super healthy starts that came in the mail. They're doing great. My husband actually found this bedpost here at the county dump when he was dropping off garbage. They always put like metal things to the side, and you can usually get them for free or for like $2. So he brought that home. So that is going to be our trellis. Over here in this bed, we use these headboard and footboard to run the wires between. This is another super cheap trellising option. Right here, you can get a 50, 100, or 500 foot spool on Amazon or Home Depot, and we use that for a lot of trellising. So these are a bunch of different varieties of raspberries. We got these starts from our friends at Blackberry Farms. They have an amazing berry farm here in North Georgia. So they are all doing great. We are just starting to get some berries. We've had like 3 or 4 so far. So we are excited about that. So that is the raspberry area, the raspberry bed. And then I'm gonna walk you back here and show you our pomegranates. These are called red Russian pomegranates. We got these from fastgrowingtrees.com. They are supposed to be extremely cold tolerant and extremely heat tolerant. And this one is doing absolutely fantastic. The trees they sent are beautiful. And we've got one more over here that's not flowering yet. And then our other orchard trees up there. So funny thing is we had one of our Fuji apple trees that didn't make it. So we pulled it out of the ground and we had to just go to Pike Nursery to get a replacement, unfortunately. Not my favorite nursery, but they had one. We wanted to replace it. When my husband pulled it up, he found one small little root, like 1 inch long, that looked like it had life in it. So he brought it down into our backyard and replanted it, and lo and behold, a week later it is absolutely covered in leaves. So I guess you just shouldn't give up on your plants. All right, we've got one more area in the front I'm going to show you next. So one of the freedoms of not being in a homeowners association anymore is that we can plant things in the front yard. We can let the grass grow a little taller. We can allow the bees to enjoy the clover. And we've got our little elderberry patch up here. Now remember we had about 3 in the backyard, but this area gets full sun most of the day, so we decided to put some up here. And these are starts that we got from Trusty Plow Farm here in North Georgia as well. Courtney is fantastic. She's like the elderberry queen, so if you need any elderberries, go check her out. And then here are 2, we got 1 fig star over here. Here's one. And then there is actually one more. You barely can see it here, but there is another fig start there. going to go to the side of the house and check out our little herb area. All right, so this is the side of the house, the mudroom entrance. One of the best things we did when we remodeled this house was to put in hot and cold water outside. It's fantastic for washing off produce from the garden before we go in, and also washing the paws off of these little rascals that go four-wheeling in the backyard every day. So here we've got marjoram, oregano, chives, sage, chamomile, a couple different types of thyme, more oregano, parsley. We got a strawberry that showed up here somehow. So these are just things that I come out and grab, just come out the door real quick and grab. So I like having these right here as well. And then I'm going to show you a surprise garden in the backyard as well. All right, now this is the area where we used to have our pigs. They were butchered in March. And we just kept noticing like this area just has sun on it almost all of the day. So we decided to put a few more tomato starts in here, as well as some sweet potato starts. They've already got the pallet fencing to climb on, so that should work out well. But let me go around the corner and show you what we got from the pigs. All right, so if you know anything about pigs, they like to go to the bathroom generally in the same area. So they aren't with us anymore, but they left us some treats in their poop. Apparently planted some tomato seeds here, and we've got all this squash growing here, but the big squash is what's awesome. This is where this was typically their bathroom area. So look at this big, beautiful squash plant right here. Now we don't know if it's going to be yellow squash or zucchini, butternut squash, spaghetti squash. Those are the main things that we fed them as far as squash. The ground there is obviously some good healthy soil they made for us. And it's just kind of like our little bonus garden. It's kind of fun. I didn't really have to do any work. The pigs ate the squash and tomatoes and pooped out seeds, and that was that. All right, well, that concludes the tour of our gardens. It is May 31st, 2021. I know I'm going to thoroughly enjoy looking back at these videos over the years and just seeing how our garden has evolved, and to reflect on all the lessons that we've learned along the way. Again, this is only our second spring-summer gardening season. We have had a lot of successes early on, but more challenges and failures than I can count. But we just kept moving forward, and we're determined to try and figure this out. I'm so thankful for so many YouTube channels and amazing books, and the amazing community of people that I have met online and through things like Homesteaders of America. The homesteading and farming community people are some of the most amazing people I've ever met. Everybody is more than happy to help you out. And I'm so thankful for that support, because you certainly cannot do this alone. You've got to find your tribe of people, your support network. I encourage you, if you're not growing any of your food yet, just to start with some herbs on your windowsill or a tomato in a bucket. And if you can't do that, consider supporting your local farming community. I have such a new appreciation for farmers, especially those growing naturally or organically. It is an exhausting process to be hand-picking your bugs off of your plants, because we're not using chemicals. We do have some natural things and sprays that we can use sometimes, but a lot of it is just by hand, and it is sometimes it's at midnight with a black light flashlight to get some of those critters off. So just know that there is so much work that goes into this. But also it is so rewarding, so I encourage each of you to just take a small step towards owning your food source. So I just thank you all for following along. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them. I am happy to try and answer your questions. You can also connect with me on my Instagram page. I would definitely love to get to know you and hopefully be able to support you in your journey as well. So thanks again for watching, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.